America and Israel on one side and Iran on the other, so we're led to believe. From the standpoint of narrowly avoiding a global famine, maybe this is a good thing. I'm not going to be an arch cynic and decry that, but I think there's a number of areas of caution here. Firstly, deal doesn't mean anything. Okay, what we have here isn't a treaty. It isn't any kind of legally binding international agreement. It is a memorandum of understanding. The sorts of kind of things that Trump has cooked up in his business career um, many, many times over. That normally involves somebody being shafted. Unfortunately, here for Trump, Iran holds basically all the cards. Trump didn't win on the battlefield. Israel didn't win on the battlefield, so they're not going to win at the negotiating table, and that's a simple fact of the matter. Iran has had many of its key wishes met on paper, at the very least, in this deal. How many of those things will materialize? Will Iran's frozen billions be released to them? Maybe. Will Iran continue to control the Straits of Hormuz? I suspect yes, they will. I don't think there's any way you can change that. I doubt it will ever be contested again. And I think Trump will hopefully rely on people forgetting about that, or not really understanding the scale of the disaster that he has brought upon America, or particularly upon himself anyway. Will Israel abide by the stipulations of the agreement to stop attacking Lebanon? I would imagine almost certainly not. The Israelis look with horror at this deal, and they will almost certainly continue attacking Lebanon and do everything they can to undermine it. Will they continue targeted assassinations within Iran? They may well do. There is nothing in my mind to suggest that America will be able to kind of curb Israel. So that, I think, is the number one wrecking ball. And the Israelis will do whatever they can to cause as much trouble as they can. Trump needs to exit this not looking like a complete failure, and maybe amongst his base he's just got enough kudos left to kind of spin this as some wonderful victory. But for almost everybody else on the planet, this is exactly what it looks like. This is the biggest strategic military failing of all time, bar none. This is a humiliating late imperial disaster. This is evidence of a shift in world power, of multipolarity, of Iran demonstrating how smaller powers, and Iran's not a small power, but smaller than the US, smaller powers using low budget technologies can now defeat giants, just as Ukraine appears to be showing once more in its war against Russia's aggression. So this is going to be one of those moments in the early 21st century where we recognize that the rules of global conflict and global power have changed and changed forever. And probably in terms of imperial power, there's no coming back here for America. Part of the stipulations of this deal is American military power leaves the Gulf basically forever. And I think that there are parts of that Trump is entirely comfortable with. America doesn't necessarily need to be there anyway. I mean, America is the world's largest producer of fossil fuels. Um, it could rely on its own fossil fuel supply quite nicely, but the workings of international markets and currency markets and commodities markets have meant that America's economy has been quite neatly propped up by intervention in the Gulf. Well, that's kind of slightly of the story. But this is, whatever way you slice it, a disastrous moment for Trump, for America, and I don't think it's over yet. I think the crisis in the Persian Gulf will roll on in some form for a long time, years perhaps, as an on-off conflict, until finally it's just not in the interests of America and Europe to sustain. All Iran needs to do is just show that it won't bend, and to carry on as it has been, and time will do the rest. Anyway, let's see what happens, and I'll do another one of these soon. Take care.